With the 34th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select future Pro Bowler Elijah Moore, wide receiver, Ole Miss.
Complete for the touchdown. Corbett, the rookie from Boomer. He grew up in Garfield, New Jersey, 10 minutes from Giant Stadium.
But short of a first down, Wayne Corbett was able to work free. What a move by Wayne Corbett.
Absolutely unbelievable. You're talking about a kid who is just all heart.
Welcome to the Underdog Jets podcast with Wayne Corbett and Robbie Sabo. Welcome back, Jets fans, to the 10th edition of the Underdog Jets podcast with Wayne Corbett. I am Robbie Sabo, and we're back again on this night. New York Islanders, Game 6. Obviously, this will be published Thursday, so you'll be listening while we do not know the final score. Hopefully, it's not another blowout. Well, again, I'm a Rangers fan, but I say hopefully as in a lot of Jets fans are Islanders fans too. So I'm behind you somewhat, halfway. Greg Van Roten, Dan Feeney, the party animal, we'll get into that a little bit. Has Wayne Corbett attended any big-time New York City sporting events in his day? Wayne, what's going on?
Everything's good, Robbie. Good to be joining you on episode 10 here.
Yeah, it's 10. We're getting there. And we'll also dig into Flight 2021, which, you know, the Jets production team, the way they put together this docuseries, this stuff they're coming out with, which has really taken off in NFL circles, is tremendous. And they released it, 2 nights ago, I believe. 4 episodes. I know you had a chance to take a sneak peek at 1 or 2 of them. We'll get into that a little bit as well. First, BetOnline. The Underdog Jets podcast is a Believe production and is presented by BetOnline. The month of June is heating up with a ton of exciting sports action, and BetOnline is where you can find it. From basketball and hockey playoffs to baseball's marquee matchups, including prop bets and futures, BetOnline has all the latest odds, news, and information for all your online sports betting needs. Visit the website today and use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before the next tip-off, face-off, Islander fans, or pitch, head on over to BetOnline and start playing today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Dan Feeney certainly had some fun. And this is not, past couple day news, but we haven't touched on it yet. He is an animal. He's one of the boys. He goes out. Greg Van Roten, who grew up on Long Island, is actually the one who organizes these field trips for the Jets players. And the last one featured a lot of new guys. I believe LaMichael Pirine was on the trip. One of the Michael Carters, I forget which one. I think it was the DB, but I'm not sure. Wayne, you had a chance to see Feeney. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I saw the highlights and I see this guy crushing the beer and going crazy with the mullet. And I didn't understand right away that it was the Jet player, a group of Jets players. And I was just like, this guy's just a crazy Islander fan. And not till like the next time I saw it that he was there again. I was like, who is this guy? And then they said he was a Jet player. And I was like, oh, this guy's a piece of work. But I see that people are ordering his jersey on NFLshop.com.
Yeah, he might not be a starting offensive lineman, at least not right now.
Yeah.
But the popularity with this guy is through the roof.
He's the most popular backup lineman you'll ever have in the NFL.
History.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Mangold. Can you imagine them two together?
Yeah. So no, it's good. It's good when New York sports teams support other New York athletes.
Yeah, it's funny too. Zach Wilson and Feeney together, it's like a contrasting duo, like the odd couple when they're sitting next to each other at Islander games.
Yeah, it's great though. It's great for the sport. It's great for New York. Hopefully, the New York teams return the favor, come support. I guarantee when I go on the field before the home games this year, there'll be some Islanders on the sideline, kind of returning the favor and the support for the Jets.
Yeah, the first memory I have of that cross support was 94 when Anthony Mason and Patrick Ewing would go to Rangers games, and then Messier and a couple other guys would go to the Knicks finals games because both the teams were in the finals that year. You were at 94 Game 7, correct? Stanley Cup?
Yeah. I was there the night they won it. With Messier, I just was in my senior year, going into my senior year of college. But, I was always at New York events. And when I was playing, I got a chance to go and, have a little better seats, at that time. But I remember being up there in the boonies, watching Messier, skate around with the cup over his head. And, I said, this is something I want to experience, bringing a championship to New York. It never happened, but, just that night was special for those guys.
Yeah. Back in that day, you had MSG. You had the Devils and the Nets right next to you guys too. I mean, right in Jersey in the Meadowlands still, not like Newark and Brooklyn as it is right now. Yeah,
everything was right there. I went to Devils. I never really went to Islander games, even though I was out at Hofstra, but more Rangers and Devil games, and always at the Knicks and Nets games, and and enjoyed it. Like I said, when you cross over different sports, the athletes, you got to get different taste of what they're going through and what you're going through.
Yeah, and speaking of the good old Nets, did you happen to see or catch the highlights to Game 7 with Durant and what happened there?
I saw the I was actually watching the phone, and I see that it was what the score was, and then all I see 110-109 that they won. And next thing I know, a couple minutes got to go back and they're in overtime. So I guess they actually put up that it was a 3-pointer initially on ESPN.com, and then they took it down, and then it didn't work out for them. But, listen, they were supposed to win it all. Everybody expected that. But, when you got injuries like that and the three were never healthy at the same time all year, they got upset. What are you going to do? Come back next year.
We've discussed how, we're both we're fans of the Yankees and the Mets. We don't hate the Giants. It's for me, that hasn't creeped in with basketball and hockey for some reason. I don't know why, because I think just the Knicks and Rangers, I'm really diehard fans of. I felt bad. I put a tweet out. It was bad timing when the Nets lost, and just nudging them a little because Knicks and Nets fans nudge each other. And right away, I just regretted it. It wasn't anything malicious. It was just a little, having a little fun. Like Durant, to your point, they did call it a 3 at first.
Yeah.
Because his toes were just on the line. Right, so the memes that generated from that were hilarious with his feet. It's a heartbreaker. So I felt bad.
Yeah. Well, he's a hell of a player. He might be one of the best, if not the best scorer of all time in the NBA. And he's certainly up there with LeBron as who's the best player in the NBA right now. Yeah. So he'll be all right. He got some championships, but they're coming in next year. They're going to be stacked. So I think they'll get right back to the playoffs and probably go even further. Yeah,
I think he's past LeBron. Like, this is the first season where I think LeBron's not the guy.
It would have been different if he did it by himself. You know what I mean? With Harden on one leg and Kyrie out, it would have meant more than the championship with Golden State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you think about it too, no LeBron there, so that's why I felt even worse, because the teams that are there, Kawhi's out. Paul is out, it was right there for the taking. But to your point, hey, they got plenty of years left, and the Nets and Knicks rivalry will only ramp up from here on.
Yeah. I mean, the Knicks are a little behind, but why would you not want to play in New York? I always say that. Why would you not play on a New York team? And, people don't want to come play for the Knicks, but I think they do now with Thibodeau as the coach, and they got a young crew there. Like, Randall's a great player. He's not a one, you know what I mean? He needs someone to come in. He's like the Bosch. He needs like a LeBron and a Dwayne Wade to come in, you know what I mean? But he's a great player, but he needs help. He needs some help for sure.
Yeah, they need shooters and a point guard too. I mean, I love Derrick Rose, but they just need a young point guard who could take advantage of today's rules.
Well, they had 4 of them. They had Rose. They brought Rose in. They already had Quickly and Nicolina, Frank,
Yep. and
Junior. Yeah, I mean, they just keep bringing them in. I don't know, man. They like Thibodeau had a relationship with Rose, so he worked out. But you need some young blood in there.
Yeah, and speaking of young blood, perfect segue. The Jets released that 4-part docuseries where, you really got to give the Jets a lot of credit here because a lot of teams would be hesitant to do this. If you watched it as a fan, you're probably ready to run through a wall because everything about what they do behind the scenes has seemingly changed. Like we already discussed it. The atmosphere is different, the communication, the engagement, it's all there. I mean, you'd have to be completely oblivious to people around you and to the environment you're in to not notice it, how different it is. This docuseries is tremendous. If you haven't seen it, go to the Jets YouTube channel. It's, what is it called? Flight 2021. Just type in Flight 2021 and you'll see all 4 episodes. I think they're a half hour each. So it's 2 hours of content. They really dig into the behind the scenes stuff in terms of hiring process with the head coach and Salah's message, even clips from his interview. I mean, Not a lot of teams do that.
Right. Here's the thing. This is what I wanted to get into this episode. If you get a chance to watch it, Flight 2021, I mean, you get an idea even more than ever, just what they had to do, with the pandemic and everything going on. And you get an idea of how much areas they have to cover as far as, they scouted 1,500 kids, down to 300 on the draft board. And you see the process of where all the scouts are, but you get to see the hiring process of Coach Salah. And you get to see, Woody talk and Christopher talk, and hear basically what Salah's pitch was and what he brings and why he should be the head coach of the Jets and what Joe Douglas did. So you get into that behind the scenes and now you know what they saw in him. And like I said, why fans listen to him and want to, run through a brick wall for him right away. I mean, he's a motivator. He's exciting. Everything he said. If I was doing a hiring process, I would have hired him the same way that the Johnsons did. So it's definitely a great watch to see, what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think it was Christopher who said there was a break during the interview and he saw Douglas or someone else, maybe it was Jaime, and they looked at each other and just started laughing because they knew he was the guy right away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, it doesn't take very long. Sometimes you just get a sense about someone, even on a Zoom call. You meet someone in person, generally you can get the energy, but just you could see it on the Zoom call. I don't know who the other people they interviewed were, but, I'm sure there wasn't even a close second.
No, I don't think so. And the fact that he left to go on another interview, everyone lost their minds.
Right.
The fact that he did that, I think goes a long way in terms of the organization feeling good about what happened, what transpired.
Right.
And, having that trust in that guy, but not just trust, just having the confidence. Yeah, do your thing. We understand. Take care of what you got to take care of. We'll be here.
Yeah. I mean, they could have, nobody wanted him to leave the building.
Right.
Without signing on the dotted line. But they were comfortable in their pitch. And this is the reason why these free agency came, you know what I mean? And they came because of Coach Salah and because of Joe Douglas and the ownership and management. And like I said, I think players are starting to see, obviously I always say they want to play in New York, but they're starting to see they got to put together a pretty good management team and coaching staff. So I think this is going to be a prime destination for free agents coming up in the upcoming years.
Yep. And the other thing, the big thing, it really covered the draft. Like you said, the territory these guys, these scouts, the scouting department has to cover is ridiculous. Multiply that by the fact that the restrictions with COVID this past year were there. It's that much more difficult. And you think about Joe Douglas when he took over after the draft, which hurts in itself. Okay, then you come around to his first draft, and before he even gets there, COVID happens. So he's dealing shorthanded again. And then his second draft, which I think is going to be an all-time great, he's dealing with restrictions all year, college restrictions where the Big Ten and another conference didn't start on time. So this show really gives you a glimpse into what they had to deal with and, a lot of other things in the war room and how they evaluated certain guys.
Yeah. Like you said, there's no combine. The only thing they had was the Senior Bowl to see guys live, and that was for the top guys. So anything other than that for these, lower school guys, these mid-American schools was different. And these guys even start watching film when these kids are freshmen, kind of getting on their radar. So just the amount of time they put into it. Like I said, there's scouts all over the place. A lot of territory they have to cover. But just without the combine, to get that, analysis without ever meeting a guy, and like I said, you get a sense of people when you're face-to-face with them. So it's kind of a little more of a crapshoot with the kids you bring in. But they definitely saw character in all these kids, and they seem to be like playing well and doing all the right things and saying all the right things so far in minicamp.
The wonderful world of Zoom, huh?
Yeah. So, I'm excited about what they've done so far.
And that was one of Salah's things. The kid, does he like ball? Does he like ball? Does he pay attention to the details? Does he eat it? Does he love it? Does he sleep it? That was a big thing. And, we'll see how it turns out with this draft.
You see how they break down Zach Wilson's tape too. And they talk about it. There was five quarterbacks, and they had the top two were Lawrence and Wilson. I'm not saying they would have took Wilson if they were number one, but he was a close second.
Yeah, it was a consensus across every department.
And that's the thing. He had them. Yeah, he had them. He had these guys, the major 7 scouts. He had them all watch film separately, not confer with each other, don't talk to each other, and come up with their own separate analysis. It's like a group thing. Yeah. It's not like one guy and you agree with him or you don't. It's like they all got their own personal feeling of it, and then they shared it, without anybody, hindering everybody's, opinion and stuff like that. And that's that group thing, that they're going through. And that's what you need on a team. You can't just have one guy making decisions.
And that's very important. What you just said, Douglas had these guys do it on their own first.
Right. And it's smart. It's smart.
Very smart. A couple of the takeaways, LaFleur really discussed in the later episodes some of the stuff Zach Wilson brings to the table, how he fits schemes. Ulbrich, we'll get into that too really quick. But the interesting thing is too, these guys were scouting this past year for a different coach, for a different scheme. And it's interesting. I think Salah's presence it did wonders for this draft process, because it was mentioned at least once. I forgot who mentioned it on the show, but it was mentioned that, we scout the guys and the information's still there, but everything changes once Salah comes in, because he's the type of guy who knows exactly what he wants. He knows the type of player that fits him, his philosophies, his scheme perfectly. And I think that's a good sign, because if it wasn't that pronounced, it wouldn't have been mentioned on the show.
Yeah. And like you could see the partnership or rapport right away with Joe Douglas and Salah. And that's important, because I do not think that it's been like that in recent years. So the fact that, they went into it together and, it was their hire, you know what I mean? It was who Joe Douglas wanted. That makes it better than it's been, in previous years.
Right. So another pick, obviously AVT, quick dad joke, Joe Douglas. What was the dad joke, if I can remember it? And it's not a good one, folks. Everyone's experienced their dad jokes. Some are decent. Some will get a chuckle. But this one, what's a pig that knows karate? What's his name? What kind of pig is it that knows karate?
What's that?
Pork chop.
All right. Who said that?
Joe Douglas in the war room. So he got up in front of everyone trying to loosen it up.
Right.
Telling everyone they got to bring their own dad joke the next day. Hopefully someone did to top it, because, you can't go out like that, to be honest.
Hey, it's all in good fun.
Exactly. So
like I said, it's behind the scenes. I can't wait to watch the next 3 episodes. I just wanted to watch the first one, so we could talk about it. They used to have, if you ever want to go back and watch some stuff about, a piece on one specific person or 2 different people, one Jets drive that they did last year and the year before. And, Jets have a great, media, facility and great people I've worked with and done interviews over and over with. So one Jets drive, they focuses on a person and goes behind the scenes and where they're from and their life and stuff like that. So there's tons of content out there that the Jets have put out in the last couple of years that they really enjoy.
And the other thing is to Brian Shields, who's the director of the football analytics department. He said they had Elijah Moore as the 16th best player going into the draft.
Yeah.
Overall player.
I can see that. Listen, if you go back and look at the reaction with Joe and Salah and the rest of the, scouting department when, they got Elijah, this was like, they felt that that diamond fell into their lap to them at what draft pick was that they got it at?
Early second.
Yeah. They felt he was a first round, talent, just like with Vera Tucker. They thought he was a top 15 talent. You know what I mean? And, he was still there. So they got some good picks this year.
And the other nugget defensively came from Ulbrich, where he really hinted at the versatility. LaMarcus Joyner, they view him as a safety, but he specifically said they're going to ask safeties to play man on man against receivers in certain situations. So you see Joyner at safety, you could put him in the slot and still go base against 11 personnel, 3 receivers. You could even use your will linebacker in zone and still keep the base out there against 11 personnel. So that really comes to light too when you watch Ulbrich's part.
Yeah. And the thing I like to hear, I saw today on social media, is CJ Mosley. He's only played 2 games in 2 years, but he's back. He's feeling good and he's ready to go. And I'm telling you, that's the key. He was some player with the Ravens, man. He can get back to where he's healthy. He's going to be a killer out there with this crew they got up front.
He's smart too. Like, that's the most important thing. You want your Mike, your leader, to be really smart. Yeah. And that's his top attribute. He's got it between the ears.
So, yeah, everything looks good. Just got to stay healthy. I know I see Becton having a little troubles, but I think they're just being smart with everybody right now. That's the thing. So. And they got depth now, which is a good thing.
They have a lot of depth. I tried to do a irresponsible, way too early roster prediction, 53-man roster prediction, which is kind of ridiculous because there's no such thing as a final 53-man roster prediction. It's
always changing.
Yeah, it's always changing. It's fluid. The practice squad is really loose with its rules now, so you can keep a lot of guys. The depth is incredible. You can't decide on the team.
Yeah, and like I said, we talked like the other day, 6-7 receivers that can get plenty of time. And like I said, something might happen. You never know what's going to happen. I don't wish that on anybody, but next man up. That's the motto in NFL, next man up. And you just hope they're as good as the person in front of them. And then just pick up where the other person left off. And it looks like they're in a situation where they can handle that if something does happen.
And look at this real quick. Quinnen Williams at the game, it looks like tonight. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, man. It's great.
In the Bronx.
Go to the game. Get yourself on the big screen and have them announce your name and cheer for you. It's great. You can't beat that, man. And he's a hell of a player. I can't believe he didn't make the Pro Bowl last year. I always say, like when I do these cameo things, I talk about the team and the draft and Joe Douglas and all this stuff. But I always say, don't forget about the young guys who came on strong at the end of the year. Becton should have made the Pro Bowl. Quinnen should have made the Pro Bowl. May had some great plays. Don't forget about those guys coming back, in addition to the new free agents and the new draft picks.
Yeah, so Quinnen in the Bronx, I wonder if that's his first Yankees game. Probably is. But you're right. That first draft, it's only going to get better from here on out. That coupled with this draft, the sky's the limit. We shall see. Let's wrap it up with a couple mailbag questions. Again, get your questions into Wayne at underdogjetspodcast@gmail.com, underdogjetspodcast@gmail.com, or just reply to YouTube, Twitter, anything that we put out there. First one's from Walt Bonzek. Have you ever considered coaching for a team? And if not, why not?
What people ask me, they said I'd be a good coach. I'd be a good receiver coach. I never got into it. I like coaching my kids and helping out, but I don't know. It just wasn't in my DNA to be a coach. I would love to get into management. I think I'm a lot better at analysis and roster construction and salary cap and all that stuff. I think, I'd do pretty good at that if I could ever assist, with the team in that, that way. But as far as coaching, I don't know. You know, the hours are crazy. You're like talking like 80-hour weeks, and, you know, breaking down film. And you gotta start, you know, you can't start at the top either. You know what I mean? You gotta kind of like earn your stripes. So it just never, you know, appealed to me. But you know, you never know. But like I said, maybe one day I can help with the, you know, roster construction. And I think that'd be where I'm best suitable.
Yeah, front office kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So
scouting, never scouting or scouting.
No, I'd love to scout. I'd love to scout. You know what I mean? But like I said, at this point, I work with the team and sponsorships and on the media content and all that stuff. I'm just happy to be involved in that way.
Second question is from Sogo, Sougo. Sorry for it just looked like a username. Which helmet do you like better, white or all green? And I don't know what he's referring to with all green, either the throwbacks, which you started with in 95, 96, 97, or today's. I think we might have touched this, but let's see what you say.
Yeah, I liked it, what we went back to when Parcells got there. But I got the Kelly green, my rookie helmet back there. I don't know, there's something special about it because when I was growing up, that's what I watched. You know, Ken O'Brien and Wesley and Altoon and Gaston and all those. That's the helmet I remember. So that's why I keep it handy, so I get a chance to look at it all the time. But yeah, go back to that, you know?
Yeah, you never forget your first, right?
Yeah.
All right, folks, the Underdog Jets podcast is wrapping up. We are brought to you by BetOnline. So head over there today and take advantage of your first new user promotion. Wayne, any final thoughts?
No, great episode. Actually looking forward to the next episode where we discuss top 50 short-handed receivers, best hands, which I'm on the list, you know, happily. Didn't know if I was on the list or not. So looking forward to going through that, and hopefully everybody enjoys this.
Absolutely. All right, Jets fans, until next time.